Right, welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the day a lot of people have been asking me about. It's the Doom Annihilation review. Now, a lot of people have been asking me to do this review because it actually leaked online. I had already seen it because prior to it leaking, I was sent a screener. So just full disclosure, I have been in contact with the studio because I also will be releasing my Doom Annihilation interview with Tony Giglio, the director of Doom Annihilation. Now, if you're new here and you haven't seen one of my reviews before, I talk non-spoilers first, then go into spoilers. And for complete transparency's sake, I absolutely shit on this movie whilst it was on the lead up to its release. We had numerous bits and pieces of information which came out which did not look very good at all. More prominently than anything was the apparent almost gender bending. We had a lead female in the role, Doomguy, and also that same actress Amy Manson released a very controversial tweet, I believe it was, saying who needs Doomguy, F Doomguy, and stuff like this. So it put a lot of people's backs up, mine included, and the first trailer was bad. However, the second trailer did turn it around for me. Obviously minus the controversial aspects. The second trailer, if no one has seen it, is a much better representation of what the film has to offer. And what I've got in the background of this video is actually in the movie. Now, it's not a spoiler, but there are demons, monsters, aliens, whatever you want to call them, in this movie. So it's not as zombie-filled as the first trailer would have you believe. Now, again, non-spoilers first, and for complete kind of transparency's sake, and for you to understand my mindset on this review, because that's really important, right? This is a direct-to-video movie. It does not have a high budget. So I always temper my expectations around that. I'm not going to go into it expecting this to be Oscar bait, for instance. Like, you just won't do it. My dog is going crazy behind me, for God's sake. So this is a direct-to-video movie, okay? I will say it's a good direct-to-video movie. It's not great, but it's good. I enjoyed this film for what it was, which is a reasonably low budget, kind of, direct-to-video movie. I enjoyed it. It wasn't that bad at all. Some of the highlights, because there are some negatives, but I want to highlight the good stuff first, was actually the special effects and the practical effects. So, in the trailers, the second trailer you would have seen, and I believe it was in the first one a little bit, but in the second trailers we see what sort of looks like this, but a bit different. And it's a practical suit. It's a man in a practical suit of like a Doom demon. And it's a really good suit. Like, the mouth moves, the sort of animatronic level of it is really, really decent. And there's a few of them. It's not just one guy with one suit being put up in multiple areas. It's actually multiple guys, multiple suits. And they are pretty good. It's, we long hail for practical effects to come back because of the over-reliance on CG. And I would be remiss to not point that out and say that actually it was pretty good. And I think a lot of people will hate on it needlessly, even though those are the same people that have cried out for practical effects in the past. I think you really do need to give it its due on the practical effects. Now, there are a lot of weird zombos running around, zombies, and whether they're good or bad is kind of, it's down to personal opinion. I didn't love them, but the makeup was fine and the acting was fine. The other really good standout for this was the special effects, especially, again, we're reviewing it as a direct-to-video release. The special effects are pretty decent for a direct-to-video release. I watched it on a fairly large TV with fairly high resolution, and it didn't look that bad. Now, if you're comparing it to something which would be on a big screen, yeah, it doesn't look that great at all, obviously. I mean, you have to be a moron to look at it like that. But to throw it into perspective, and I know this will irritate a lot of people, but it's a good comparison, the CG didn't look nearly as rubbery on the fully CG models as the Terminator Dark Fate Rev 9 Terminator does in the trailers. So to put it as a direct comparison to a big budget movie, they have a rubbery CG model. This one, a low budget film, direct to video, did not. So on those things alone, it's reasonably good. Now, there are some very good Easter eggs for Doom game fans. There are, genuinely, not just fans of the new one, because they can't touch anything to do with the new games. They don't have the rights for that. They only have the rights up until Doom 3, I believe. So there are some really good Easter eggs in the movie for Doom fans. And one of the absolute standouts, which goes hand in hand with Easter eggs for Doom, is the sets. The sets are actually really, really good. They have heavy weightiness behind them. It's not just like one corridor being recycled. It genuinely looks like multiple sets. And there's some good on location sets as well that have been put up, like some caves and stuff like that. And I really liked the sets. I really liked the attention to detail on the sets. Again, is it standout? Is it something which would hold up in a high budget movie? I don't know, but they certainly, I think, wouldn't look massively out of place. Now, the acting was fine. Some of it's cheesy in parts here and there, but it's kind of what I would have expected from a Doom movie. A lot of people will remember in the first trailer there was the die, die, die line in the trailer. They went back to the drawing board on this film. It's very apparent that they did, because the first trailer is a bad representation of what the film is, and there's some dialogue in that first trailer which is not in the film. Die, die, die is not in the film. So they've definitely listened to the feedback. And I've long gone on record and said this, because I've said it about the Sonic movie. You do have to give a studio props for when they listen to their audience, because more often than not, we're in an era now where people just go, you're a troll, you're this, you're that. And these are filmmakers. These are studios. For a studio to actually go, okay, we listen, this is constructive, we'll change it, is epic. You do have to give them props for that. Now, the other kind of good things about this film, there was some good music here and there. There was some first-person elements. And I liked the story, like the narrative. It's simplistic. It chugs along well. It's got good pace. Right, the negatives. Okay, non-spoilers, the negatives. Some of the acting is bad. It's a pro and a con. There are some good acting, but there's also some bad acting in this. There is some bad girl power moments in this, which is ham-fisted, and it is not particularly great. There are some dumb male characters in this, which I feel it might just be me looking into it, because obviously in the climate we live in, I do look at these things, and there may be a shadowed lens that I'm looking through it with, but I have to point it out. So there is some bad, dumb male moments in this. There's some, female moments where they absolutely save the day, and it's a bit, did you need to do that? Did you not? It's down to personal opinion, but for me, some of it, not all of it, mind you, because I've given a lot of positives, but some of it was a bit ham-fisted, and I would say a bit needless. The direction was actually good. Tony Giglio did a good job with this film. Lots of Easter eggs. Very good sound design. The lighting was actually really decent. There's true lighting from the set. So it's not like they've just gone, right, well, we need to get them here on the set, and then actually what we're going to do, light it offset over here so it looks like it's in the set. They've inbuilt the lighting to the set, which I think is really, really good. And again, just goes down to that attention to detail from a filmmaker, which, doesn't need to be there. They could have gone the easier route, the cheaper route, again, because it's low budget, right? Could have gone the cheaper route and just done it like that, but they didn't. They inbuilt the lighting into the set, which, again, have to give them props for. Now, let's talk spoilers, okay? You've been warned, we'll talk spoilers, but I will recommend this film as a direct-to-video film. It's good. I wouldn't begrudge paying a couple dollars for this, which is, I guess, the going rate for direct-to-video films. I don't know what they are nowadays, but I don't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. And there's people that have emailed me having seen the leaked copy, and they liked it as well. So I know that I'm not the only one, but I will say it's going to be divisive. I think fans of the new games will probably not like this so much, and I think people who have a mass hatred of any remote sign of feminist agenda will not like this film. Okay? But I don't think there is a massive feminist agenda there. So that's kind of my caveat point off the back end of that. So we'll talk spoilers now. You've been warned, we'll talk spoilers. And first things first, everyone is going to ask me, is Doomguy in this film? Now, we had some comments from the director which would indicate there would potentially be Doomguy in this film. He wasn't wrong, but he was also not really misleading. There's an Easter egg of BJ Blazkowicz, or Blazkowicz, the Doom Marine from 1, 2, and 3, or so anyway, the Doom Marine, the Wolfenstein crossover character, that guy. He's in it, but he's dead, which I would say calls to this somewhat being a sequel to a Doom game, if that makes sense. Are there demons in it? Yeah, there absolutely is. They go to hell in this movie, or a hell dimension, and I actually quite liked that. It wasn't that bad at all. There was some weird, like goopy stuff which kind of manifests itself into more demons than that, and I quite liked it. I say this with utmost clarity and sincerity, is that the effects, the CG effects, are very good. They're not rubbery at all. They have the textures on point. The models are good. It's definitely not, high budget movie performance level, but again, direct comparison, it's less rubbery than Terminator Dark Fate, which says a lot, I think. I liked it. There's the narrative. There's really not that much to go into with spoilers. Basically, they find these supposed teleporter devices left from an alien race. They start to use them. They figure out how to activate them. And, shit goes down. That's the narrative. Doom Marines come on. They are sent there as punishment for an earlier thing, which is like the MacGuffin of the movie. It's the emotional narrative of Amy Manson's character, Joan Dark. Her character goes through this arc because of them being sent there. And then we figure out that it is actually a hell dimension. They left them there. They want to come back, reclaim the Earth, destroy humans, and all of this stuff. And it was good. It opens itself for a cool sequel. There's some issues with the BFG. I should have said this in non-spoilers, but I guess not everyone would have seen the BFG. The BFG is super light in this film. It's clearly a massive weapon, or supposedly a massive weapon. It is being thrown around as if it's quite cardboard-like, which I do have an issue with. But for the most part, I didn't hate this film at all. Like I say, it does not belong on the big screen, but I don't think it's pretending to. So I think that matters. I think you do have to watch these films with that in mind and cater your expectations. So anyway, if you've seen it, do let me know what you think. Again, I know I'm going to get a bunch of mindless hate for actually liking this movie. Seems I can't do anything right. People hate me when I hate movies or I give constructive critique. People hate me when I like movies. So I know I won't be able to do anything right with this one, but I say temper your expectations on the fact that it is a direct-to-video film. Also, again, for everyone that will probably out and out check this out and say, oh, it's because he's interviewed the director, that's why he's giving it good praise. No, because I did comment to the director specifically about some of this stuff that I did not like. I'm very straight down the line with these things, very unbiased. I think you do have to be. I'm not going to just pander to someone. There are negatives to this film. There are absolutely negatives to this film. It's not a 10 out of 10. But it's worth the price of a download. Watch it with some beer. Have a good time. I didn't hate it at all. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you're new here, make sure you do hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I've been Mr. H. Take care.